cannot believe how much is in the Book of Mormon. So today we're going to talk about evidence 18, the Didache, and Moroni 2 through 6. Basically, these are both general handbooks, and they have details on, similar details. The Didache is a Greek word meaning teaching or training. We would use the word didactics today. And basically, it's a manuscript that dates back to as early as 50 AD, and it just talks about some of the same things that's in Moroni 2 through 6. So details about how to, or perhaps words to say when ordaining certain leaders, doing the prayer on the bread, prayer on the water, baptism, how often to meet, the point of the sacrament meetings, things like that. And I'll put the link in the description. Of course, there's a table. I'll also put in this description the link to the actual text of the Didache. One thing that I think is interesting here in chapter 14, it says, "But every day on the Lord's day, gather yourselves together." But every Lord's day, gather yourselves together and break bread. So that's meaningful to me just because, sometimes I guess I wonder if we do sacrament too often, if it's too available, that ability to renew our covenants, because for us it represents, you know, almost getting baptized again and being available every week. Uh, you know, uh, it's quite meaningful. It implies we might need it that often, but it also implies God's so merciful to us. And other Christians do the Eucharist like once a year, right? Sometimes with in association with the Passover. But anyway, I think that's how Christ meant for it to be was often. And I should back up and say, why do we think this Didache would be evidence of the church? Because so we believe that Christ is always trying to establish his church, and then it always breaks apart, and it splinters into apostasy, not from like 100 to 0, but it's slowly by degrees. And so whether the Didache is from, we'll say the true church, or whether it's like an offshoot or something like that, the fact that it has lots of content that is similar to when Jesus is setting up his church in the Americas amongst the Nephites, because that's what Moroni is writing down. We view that as a positive thing, I guess. And I want to speak quickly to why would Moroni even include these things, because it is almost like a handbook. And someone named David Holland wrote a book saying that if it was important, why wasn't it included earlier? And he says that Moroni included it to try and feel like as if he was there with Jesus when it happened.